Several years ago, I had this dream that I was in a basement, walked the stairs down, and there were two men there in the basement with me, and it was like a square the size of a card table, and on that card table, there was a box with fake jewelry, like whatever you call it, not the real deal, real stuff. Custom? Costume jewelry. Costume. Yeah, thank you. And these two guys were helping me rummage through it and find, is there something valuable in that costume jewelry box? And there was none. And then I walked to the side and walked to my closet where I would keep my clothes and all. And I found one small little box, like the 35 millimeter film boxes when we took pictures years ago. The films came in 35 millimeter, like the Kodak or so on. And in that small little box, there were gold coins in there. And they were really heavy. You know, when you ever feel gold, it's heavier than, it's a heavy thing. So I took that little box and handed it to one of these men. And then I woke up. So what do you make of that? Well, our scripture reading, one of these parables says there is a treasure hidden in the field. And I think, and I deeply believe, there is a treasure hidden in every one of our hearts. Imagine that field being inside of you. There is value, there is treasure in your heart that is right there to discover and uncover and unbury, and it's worth digging deeper for, and it's worth investing your life into. For as this merchant who is looking for the pearl, or the one who is coming upon the treasure, what both parables say, they gave their all. They kind of came home when they discovered the treasure. They sold everything they had in order to recover and find that treasure. There is a story about right at the beginning of creation, as we heard Sophia, wisdom was with God and with the angels. And when the angels and God had this understanding, had this conversation of where and how shall we place wisdom in creation? Where and how shall we hide her or make her, place her in a specific place? And they were really concerned that if some people come and catch wisdom and take it with them, it will be lost forever. So where should they hide wisdom? Well, God came up with the idea, so no one can steal wisdom and take it away. What about hiding it in every person's heart, deep in their heart? And often people will not recognize and search in their own heart for the wisdom that is already there, the treasure, but often we look outside. What is gold? What is shiny? What do we want? What are our wishes? What are our hopes? Versus looking inside for the treasure within. A few weeks ago, my wife and I, we were in Cape Cod. Yes, thank you. They had this continuing education event at Cape Cod. Otherwise, we would never get there. So yes, and we really enjoyed it. So some of the afternoons were free, so we walked to the beach. And then at some point, we saw in the water, in the shallower part of the water, some women looking, and we overheard that one of the women lost one of her rings in the water. So they were really searching, really looking, and more people came to try to help them. So I think this searching, this looking for, this digging deeper inside of us, that's the invitation of our scripture reading today. And that's the invitation that God offers to King Solomon. Now, when Ben asked the children, "What do you wish for?" If you had one free wish, I will not let you off the hook like Ben did with the children. So if you had one free wish, what would it be? Peace. Inside, around, world peace, or peace for our hearts. And they're connected. Other things? One free wish. No more wishes? Oh, Joanne.
For my son to see again.
For Davy to be able to see again. That is so dear and close to you. Mm-hmm. If you had one wish. That everyone has to eat and a place to lay their head down. Every person, no matter what. Other things? Yeah. So when Solomon asks, he's asking, and the words in the Hebrew language describe it as a listening heart. So wisdom has to do with the heart and with listening, paying attention. And you know, and often we hear it and see it, that many people are fast to talk, and not quite as intent to listen more deeply and listen for understanding, especially when you go out on the media, when you see it all on the news, it's all about out. It's really filling the whole space. What about stepping a little bit back and listening more deeply with a caring heart? And when Solomon asks for that wisdom, the God of steadfast love, of everlasting love says, you chose wisely. You did not ask for wealth. You did not ask for health and a long, long life. You did not ask for your enemies to be killed or so, but you asked for wisdom, for a listening heart, an understanding heart, a discerning heart. That's why God said, I will give you also everything else with that gift of wisdom. So what is most important in your life? What is most important in our lives? What makes for wisdom? For me, one aspect is to take ourselves just a little bit back, or what the Bible calls humility, just a listening. It's not all about me. I don't need to be the center of attention. Just being open and noticing what's going on. It's not all about me, humility, taking yourself a little bit back. As someone said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a specific reason. Listening is double as important as talking. Or how does there is a quote by an American author or someone who said, if you do not open your mouth, people may think you're a fool. If you open your mouth, you remove all doubt about it. I know, sense of humor, but I know of situations where I made a fool of myself, too. It feels like, yikes, I wish I could have zipped it. Yeah. Head is smarts. Heart, the compassion. Head, heart, what is missing are the hands still. We can know it all. We can understand it with our hearts. If we do not do anything about it, it's being lost. So Jesus, at the end of all the wisdom teaching he has in the Sermon on the Mount, he says, you know what? It's like with a person who builds a house. If you hear all the words in the world, if you have all the wisdom, but do not act on it, it's like a fool building a house on the sand, and when the storms comes and the water and the flood rises, it will collapse. But if what you know, what is in your heart, your understanding, if you act by it, if you live by it, if you put it into practice, you're like a wise builder who builds on the rock. The storms comes, the flood comes, but the house is built sturdy and solid on the rock. Head, heart, hands. Where and how do you act wisely?